Hey you guys, my name's Victoria. I'm sitting outside on my porch because it is the quietest place in my apartment right now. My roommate is cooking and it's pretty loud. She's got the radio on. Alright, my name's Victoria, and the assigned module that I had was Module 4, and that covered the chapter of The Power of Our Passions, and it was the theory and research on strong attitudes. I really appreciated this module because I learned a lot about myself, a lot about others, and why I argue the way that I do. And I argue the way I do because I have a very strong attitude, and that strong attitude is held on the foundation of my beliefs and my values. So when you've got something that is, backed by such strong beliefs and strong values, and you're going to have a very strong attitude, and you're going to argue very effectively or very strongly, I guess. So the concept I chose to talk about, since we had to be specific, is the latitude of rejection. Rather than being kind of broad and talking about all three, I'm just going to talk about the latitude of rejection. So latitude of rejection is when you feel like ideas brought to the table are the most objectionable. So let's say you're the kind of person that really loves pineapple on pizza, which I do, and someone comes to the table and says pineapple and fruit does not belong on pizza. You are going to have a large latitude of rejection towards that idea, because you do believe pineapple belongs on pizza. So I wanted to start you guys off with a fun, lighthearted example, because my personal experience is kind of heavy. It is the relationship with my father. I chose to talk about my relationship with him because I believe that we both have very large latitudes of rejection. I have very extreme and strong views towards the social issues that affect us in our country, and he's very much like the government. We need to have as limited government as possible. He really supports guns, and we need to create jobs no matter what. Jobs. And I do believe we need to have job creation, but in a moral sense. He is a very big supporter of the Dakota Access Pipeline, and he says it's because it's gonna make jobs, but in reality, we butt heads because I'm like, it's not gonna create a lot of long-term jobs. So we argue a lot constantly about these issues. So however, this is my next point. I believe it is very healthy when you can agree to disagree with people in your life, when it comes to issues like this. And but we both have very large latitudes of rejection, so it's hard to accept each other's opposing views. He doesn't realize that I can't reason with the 45th president-elect of our country, and this idea has I guess caused me to go into like overdrive, because I'm constantly reminded that my father supports someone who is against people like me, someone that is a Latina queer, and it's very hard to come to terms with that. So in retrospect, I believe that I have a smaller latitude of rejection in comparison to him, because I can set things aside, our differences aside, and just enjoy a nice family meal or have a family gathering and stuff like that. But he is a nitpicker, and he will constantly try and make me uncomfortable so I can bend until I break, basically. He likes to have arguments with me, and I don't like having arguments with him because it makes things uncomfortable. For my mom especially, because she just wants to be the mediator, wants things to go peacefully. But that's not the case when it comes to him. So that was my personal experience that I wanted to tie to my concept. But in conclusion, I wanted to talk about how a large latitude of rejection is a process. You don't just get there overnight. I believe that my attitude is strong because I've selectively exposed myself to certain things in the media, certain music, certain movies, certain protest groups, the classes that I take, and the people that I hang out with. You know, we're all like-minded individuals. And, you know, this selective exposure has led me to my political biases manifesting in my brain activity. So I am constantly thinking about this stuff because the people I hang out with are very intellectually challenging people. So we're always having in-depth conversations about all the social issues, or all the issues that affect everyone in the country. And then that has ultimately led me to my large latitude of rejection. So that is the third step in this process that I've learned. You just can't get to this place overnight. And it's unfortunate, but it can be an unfortunate thing that, you know, it's not something that I can just come out of, you know. It's unfortunate because it has strained relationships, particularly with my dad. But in the end, I am at peace with myself. I am an independent woman, and I find myself being very passionate about issues that I find important to me. So that is my presentation. It's a little bit long, I'm sorry. I try to cut it as short as possible, but I would really appreciate any kind of comments or feedback that you guys have for me. So leave me some good comments, guys. Thank you, and bye.